Hello and welcome back. So today I wanted to show you all how I made my very witchy Yule tree / Christmas tree. And I did it with things that I already had on hand. And I didn't really have the extra cash flow to go and purchase a bunch of new ornaments. I looked at them, and a lot of them, most of the ones that I liked, were like $20 a piece. And it was just no. So I went about making my own. The first thing I did was I had a deck of tarot cards. These are real shiny and pretty, and my little granddaughter really loved to play with them. So lo and behold, a card came up missing. One card. And whether it's 1 or 10 cards, if you lose a tarot deck card, the deck's done. You really can't use it. It's not really good for anything. So, but they're really beautiful. I held on to them. And I'm glad that I did, because these make really cool ornaments. And I just did the major arcana, and I cut off the bottom of them. On the back, I put some glitter because the back of it's kind of ugly. Not ugly, but the back of it's kind of, I'll say, boring. So I just wanted to put a little bit of sparkle onto it. I had some apothecary bottles that I hadn't used, and so I used these. I put a little, instead of using the cork, I put a little bead on top to make it look kind of fancy. And I put a little bit of glitter on the inside so they sparkle on the tree. Then I had a couple of apples, which I cut because apples are very witchy. They're the fruit of the witches. In the middle of each apple is a pentacle. So I took the apples, I sliced them up pretty thinly, and then I put them in the oven on the lowest temperature for about a day. Maybe half a day. You don't want it to go so long that it's going to really burn and turn your apples an ugly color, but you want all the moisture to be out of them. Then I took some red hairspray. I didn't use red spray paint because the consistency is too thick, and the red hairspray gives it kind of an airbrushed look. And I sprayed my apples. And then I just put some little charms on it. This one's a key and a little bead. And I put glitter on all of them. Here they are, just kind of plain. And these are pretty, just like this, I think. I had some little bitty balls, ornament balls. I put a little charm on it. I put a little moon decal. And some glitter on the inside to match my color scheme. This one has some herbs and such in it. There's another one, gold. Then I made some little brooms to put on my tree. And I made about 4 or 5 of these. And this is just using stuff that I had. This actually came from the tree, one of the trees that we have here. It's not my own personal tree, but they cut some branches off the bottom and asked me if I wanted. I said, heck yeah, I'll use it. But I thought these were cute. And again, I used the red hairspray when I painted the room to make it kind of go with the color scheme. It had some little wooden hats that I got from the dollar store a few years ago. I never used them for anything. I couldn't figure out. I thought they were cute and I knew I would eventually use them. I didn't know what for. And so I made some little witch hats. I didn't have any black paint, so I just made them silver. And they turned out cute. And I just put a bow around it, a little charm. So another thing I did was I used stickers. And I went and I just found some photos, pictures that I liked on the internet. I have a subscription to Adobe Stock Photo, but if you don't have a subscription, they have lots of great free photos as well. But I used Avery clear sticker paper, and I'm telling you this because it is the best paper to pick up ink. The ink color is really vibrant and pretty. You have to wait for it to dry completely before you start using it, otherwise it'll wipe off. So I put the clear paper on a piece of stock paper. I used just a cream color. You could use anything, but just know that whenever you put your clear sticker on your paper, the color of the paper is going to show through. So one of the things that I really wanted to go with is a Christmas folklore, and you probably heard of it before because they did a movie some years back. I didn't even know about this until I started researching. And this is Krampus. Krampus is very frightening. He is based on the Santa Claus that we know today. And the legend comes out of Germany. The song Santa Claus sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, knows you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. That was probably based on Krampus, only Krampus didn't just give you a chunk of coal. He would snatch the children, hit them with a stick. Now, if you have young ones, very young, I wouldn't put these on my tree unless you put them way up high where they couldn't see him, because it's probably going to scare the bejesus out of them. So while I was doing my research on Krampus, I also came upon Befana. Befana is a witch, and this legend comes out of Italy. They say it dates back to the 13th century. It became very popular in the early 1900s, and they still celebrate this today in Italy. I think it's really awesome. So the three wise men were traveling to see the baby Jesus. Along the way, they wanted to stop and rest and ask for directions to Bethlehem. They stopped at an old woman's house. Her house was very neat and clean and tidy. So she takes them in, feeds them. They notice what a really nice, clean house she has. And they thought she was very kind-hearted. They told her about the baby Jesus and where they were going. And they asked her if she would like to come along with them. And she said no, because she had to sweep her house. She had to tidy up her house. And so they went along their merry way. Sometime later, as she's sweeping, she says to herself, I should have went with them. So, with broom in hand, she takes off to find the wise men and the baby Jesus. She brings with her some sweets to give to the baby when she finds him. Well, she couldn't find the baby Jesus, but along the way she left little gifts to the children in their shoes, if they were good. Now, if they had been bad, she would leave them pieces of coal So the gift that you would leave for her would be a little glass of wine and maybe some salami. So La Befana was quite happy at the end of her evening. They still celebrate this today in Italy. It became very popular in the early 1900s, and they still celebrate it. They make dolls that represent the witch La Befana, and they burn them. And this represents getting rid of the old. Her broom represents getting rid of the old, making room and making tidy for the new year. And this is a celebration of the Epiphany, which is on January 6th. And it's the eve of the Epiphany that she brings the toys or candy to the good little boys and girls and the cold to the bad ones. I love this idea. I think it's so awesome. When I saw it, I was like, wow, I had never heard of this before. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I kind of have a recollection of something, but there's a lot of stuff in there and it gets lost sometimes. So I decided to make my own Befana doll. And just as a side note, the 12 days of Christmas from December 25th to January 6th is 12 days. And that is where the 12 days of Christmas comes in. I didn't know that either. I read that the other day. I thought that was interesting because, you know, I can remember singing that song a lot. And I never really knew exactly what it meant. 12 days of Christmas, what is that talking about? So anyways, that's what that is. So I decided to put as my tree topper a Befana doll, but I'm not going to burn mine. Here's a little witch flying through the air. She doesn't have a bag full of toys or candy like the doll I made does. Now, the Befana is usually portrayed as an old woman, an old witch. She has a kerchief on her head. She always has a broom. She has kind of a warty face, kind of a big nose, and she has patches usually on her clothing. But this is going to top at my tree, so I decided to make her a little bit different. So she's an angel witch, and so I had to give her wings. I made her a little hat. She has a bag with a candy in it, and her broom, of course. Here's the back of her wings. So this is my beautiful tree topper. I love it. It was a thought process. It was a process making her. But I knew as soon as I read that this was going to be my tree topper. I think she's really pretty. She goes with my color scheme. I love the thought of the Christmas witch, the good witch, flying through the air on her broom on Epiphany Eve, leaving toys and candy for the good little children. And this idea of the Christmas witch actually predates Santa Claus. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some good ideas for your witchy Yule tree. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll talk a cup of kindness yet for days of old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand of thine. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll talk a cup